Raider Nation, what is up? Great to see you for my day 2 training camp update. Training camp's over. What a day it was. It was a spectacular first day of camp. Got a lot of things that we're going to dig in with you today. I want to just take a moment, though, very quickly. There were a lot of guests today at camp, season ticket holders. Obviously, I shared with you several weeks ago that the Raiders were not going to be able to have open practices because of the NFL and the teams that are based here, Chargers and Rams. Um, but season ticket holders were allowed to be here, and it was great. They brought the energy, they brought the fire. I mean, before the players even came out, it was bam, the players are ready to go. I had a chance to meet a ton of them that were there. I appreciate all of you that took time and wanted to visit. It was great. What a privilege to meet Raider Nation. I love you guys, and I'm so grateful for you. I know that you can go anywhere to get your Raider news. So when you choose to come to me, I don't take it for granted. I'm not entitled to it. Trust me, I know that. I have to work at it every single day. But I just want to thank you for coming up and saying hi. Please never. I had one person come up today and they go, I really hate to bother you. And I said, well, why would you bother me? They go, I watch your podcast every day. I read everything you write. I would love to just meet you. I said, a bother? You're my boss. I'd love to meet you. So when you guys see me out in public, don't ever hesitate. I want to say hi. It's great to see you. Thank you so much. So we got a lot to dig in on today. Oof, man, there's an old saying one time. I remember I bring him helping my grandma bring the groceries into the house. And she said, "Man, we got us a full one today," meaning all the cupboards were full. We got ourselves a full one today for day 2. And remember, there's no pads, but it's different than OTAs and mini camp where it's about installation, not evaluation. Now it starts to become, because it is different. We're going to get into all those nuances today. The first thing that I feel like I have to hit is because there's no pads, they specifically spent a lot of time today doing individual drills, group drills. So, for example, they may have wide receivers running routes. That's an individual drill. But then they may have drill where they run routes and quarterbacks throw them the ball. Okay, that's a group drill. They did some group things. The only thing that they really did that was team on team specific was special teams. I'm going to get into all of that. Excuse me today. Got the hiccups all of a sudden. Sorry about that. But we're going to get into all that. The weather was perfect. I mean, but it's SoCal. And in Vegas, it's 109, and here it was 75. So it was great. But anyways, I just want to dig in and talk to you today about practice. Um, let's start because it's one of the biggest things, and I've talked a lot about it. Kickoffs. As you know, the kickoff rule is changing. They did a lot of work on kickoffs today. There were a lot of different people back there getting reps. However, I'll tell you the two that really stood out to me were Amir Abdullah and Dylan Laube. I thought Nate Hobbs looked really good too. Yes, he was back there taking some kicks, but it didn't appear to me. Um, but they got a lot of them. And Dylan Laube, to me, I'm going to talk to you more about him from the group drills outside of special teams. But I liked his ability. Now I'm going to tell you right up front. I texted somebody within the Raider organization about something I want to talk to you. And so if I check my phone occasionally, it's because I'm actually looking for a text on something I'd like to address to you. Um, but Dylan Laube was very now Amir Abdullah. Man, I'm jumping all over the place. Amir Abdullah is a seasoned special teams vet. He's so good. He's so talented. So he just looks smooth. Dylan Laube, to me, yes, he's smooth. He doesn't look like Amir, but he was explosive. Amir, 2 steps and he's going. Dylan, 1 step and he's in full speed. I want to go back, and I am in no way even remotely equating Dylan Laube on the scale of a Barry Sanders. But Barry Sanders, one of his biggest gifts that he had, and I've talked to him about this numerous times, he could stop and then with one step be at full speed. If you go back and watch highlights, maybe you're too young, you don't remember Barry, go back and watch highlights on YouTube. Um, he could stop on a dime, give you 9 cents change, and then instantly be at full speed again. That is a very rare talent. I mean, I can count on one hand, and I don't need all my fingers for guys that showed it. Now, it appears, and I want to see more because I didn't see it in OTAs or minicamp. It would appear Dylan Laube has that kind of speed and that just that that jolt. Many of you who grew up in the 80s like me, I was born in the 70s, but really grew up in the 80s, born in 71. Remember that old pop jolt? And it says double the caffeine and all the sugar, something like that. It was just and so Dylan Laube is like just bam. He's explosive. I was impressed. Now he's small. Matter of fact, let me look. I'm going to check and see what the Raiders have him listed at. And in the interest in this is not slamming on the Raiders. Very few teams actually are pretty accurate on this. They have him at 5'10", 206. I was going to guess 5'8", 195. He ain't that big. I mean this with all respect, but he's just so small in the football field. He kind of looks like a Smurf. But the young man is talented now. He's got skills. Now, I have no idea how that's going to equate to the NFL, where he's going to turn real quick and there's going to be somebody, what? Getting to know you. Remember that old commercial? But he's got him. And he can take a hit. And at that size, I don't know. I'm not saying he can't, but let's be honest. He's coming from New Hampshire. If the kid was that size coming from Georgia, if he was that size coming from, you know, Alabama, somewhere else, then you would think, all right, this kid's a real deal. It's not fair to sell him short, and I'm not going to do that. I'm just telling you, I have concerns that he can, but until he proves to me he can't, I'm a buyer. Now, I know we're talking special teams, but let me go to a different direction. So they're doing long 9 routes, and you guys know what a 9 route is. I told you some teams call them a 7. It's just a straight bomb. Some teams call them a 7 because you score a touchdown, but most teams call them 9 routes. They were running some 9 routes today, and Dylan Laube had a pass thrown to him by Aiden O'Connell, and Aiden put it perfectly. Now you got to understand, Dylan's running down the field. Picture if you're watching a field, he's running from your left to right. And Aiden threw a perfect bomb right in a spot on the sideline where either he catches it or it goes out of bounds. It wasn't going to be intercepted. It was a perfect pass. And Laube just adjusted over the shoulder, and I mean caught it in stride. It was the best catch of the day, in my opinion, of all the wide receivers, and there were some good ones now. There were some good ones, but they weren't going against the defense, and they weren't wearing all their pads. But still, you can't teach that. Dylan Laube has the things you can't teach. Yep, he's a Smurf, but he can't change that. Would he like to be 6'4", 220 pounds like a Calvin Johnson? Sure. But he's not. It's not the body God gave him. But what he does have, he maximizes it. I mean, he's pretty special now. Again, Smurf. And that's not being disrespectful. That is not meant to be disrespectful. Years ago, the Michigan Panthers USFL team, I mean years ago when it first came out, had a wide receiver they called Smurf. That's not disrespectful. He's a heck of a ball player. Now the adjustment's going to be, can he make the adjustments to play at the NFL level? But he looked good. He looked good in special teams. He looked good in running routes. I mean, just right over the shoulder, perfect pass. And I'm gonna be blunt with you. I did not see that from him in OTAs or minicamp. I saw the ability to catch a football, but I didn't see as many opportunities for him to um, make that adjustment with the ball in the air. Now it's going to be different when he's got a Nate Hobbs or a Jack Jones hanging on him. And yep, they're not using their hands, but they're using their body. And he's not the biggest dude. In this situation, you can just pretend I'm from Missouri and you got to show me. But that young man, I just want you to keep your eyes out on Laube. He got a little something, something. And again, it's all going to come down to can he take a hit? And the other thing is, and this is another one, defensive backs in the NFL are very strong and most of them, not all, but a lot of them very, especially Raiders ones, very violent within that 10-yard window. So because he's so small, I don't know that he has the strength to fight off, and get down the field. But I will tell you this, if he does, he's going to be special because he just darts. I mean, he's like, doof, doof. My kids used to watch this cartoon about a hedgehog. I wish I could remember what it was, but it's a cartoon about a blue hedgehog. I don't know why he's blue. I know hedgehogs are brown, but I don't remember the name. But it was something hedgehog. I think Sammy Hedgehog or Scott Hedgehog, something like that. But anyways, it was a cartoon years ago, and it was a story about a hedgehog, obviously, and he was all over the place. That is, maybe that's even a better name than Smurf, but they're both blue. If Laube can get off the ball and be strong, can you imagine that little 5'10" guy running across the middle? I mean, he's so little, linebackers are looking over him. Man, watching him get small in space and be able to dart out of some stuff. Just saying, we're all going to know on Tuesday. Because on Tuesday, I'm plastered to Laube. I want to see how he does. But so far, that kid shined, looked really good. And again, Amir Abdullah and special teams looked really good. And they did. There were some other guys back there, and they all looked fine. But those guys just stood out because of that step. I like it. I want to talk to you about Aiden O'Connell. Him and Gardner primarily took the reps today. It doesn't mean all the quarterbacks. It doesn't mean Bradley and Brown didn't, but it was them. And Gardner looked very good. Anybody who's watched this podcast, and I know that we are growing exponentially, but anybody that's watched this podcast for any amount of time is very much aware of how much I like Gardner Minshew, and I like him a lot. Great, just a great salt of the earth guy. And he looked good. I want to make that very clear. Aiden O'Connell was stunning with his accuracy. I put some video up on my IG account and on my Twitter account. I really, or X, excuse me, I really encourage you, or on our Facebook page, Las Vegas Raiders Insider with Hondo Car. I mean, check that out too, if you would. Either one. By the way, if you're not following that page and liking it, you should. I put a lot of stuff up there. I'm pulling it up right now. I think it's called Sports Illustrated. It's called Sports Illustrated's Las Vegas Raiders Insider on Facebook. Check that page, please, and like it. But I put some great video of the quarterbacks throwing the ball, and they all look good. But Aiden O'Connell was, I mean, he was. There's I don't remember the name of it, but there was on Amazon Prime, there was a show about an American football coach who goes to England to coach soccer. And there's a scene in there where he throws these darts and just right on I mean, I cannot believe I forgot the name of that. It'll come to me. Ah, now I got to do this. Amazon Pro, Apple TV show about an American coach in England. Ted Lasso. I can't believe I forgot that. All right, Ted Lasso. But on this Ted Lasso show, and I only watched a couple of them, but I watched where he throws darts and he just bam. Aiden O'Connell was dropping darts today. That was pretty fun. I told you about that throw to Laube. There were several throws that what really impressed me doing those 7 routes was where he put the football. He's so protective of the football. I mean, he's so protective of the football. And he just was putting the ball right on the money today. I am sure because I did not watch him the entire practice, but I watched him a lot and I didn't see one bad throw. Not one. Now, again, I didn't watch the whole practice, but I did watch a lot. He looked dynamite. I mean, he was just vocal, having fun. Now, let's go to the Luke Getsy offense because I saw a couple things that I did not see in minicamp or in OTAs, but I saw today that were very prevalent. They were working on situations, and guys were and Gardner and Aiden were audibleizing. I thought that was very interesting to me. I watched that very, very closely. I think there's some times, especially when Josh McDaniels was the coach here, where they hurt themselves because Josh was not a big fan of audibleization. I think there was times in Derek Carr's career that John Gruden was not excited about him audibleizing, although that certainly changed probably the last 2 years that Derek was here, or the last year that Derek was with John, maybe even the last 2, but somewhere in that line. But they were audibleizing a lot. I like to see them working on it. And I'm going to just say Gardner is such a natural at that. He is a free-spirited guy. And when he plays quarterback at his best, he's free-spirited. And but him and Aiden were both tremendous at audibleization, and both looked very, very comfortable at it. I thought that was another interesting thing to watch in practice. I want to get into um, Michael Mayer. I saw something in Michael Mayer, and I watched in practice last year, every game, all of it. But I saw something from Michael Mayer, and when I get a chance to talk to him later this week or early next week, I'm going to talk about it. He looked faster. Now, I'm going to say something to you. Remember, I talked about those routes where you're running sevens and running routes, and the quarterbacks are throwing. There was a time when he was running a route and he had to stop and slow down for the ball to get to him. And I totally believe the quarterback thought, okay, he's a bigger guy, he's a tight end. I got to slow down. He showed feet today now. I mean, wowza. I mean, what? When I saw it, I was literally like, are you kidding me? I'll read my notes here. I can't find them. Oh, here they are. I want to read you my note that I wrote. I put absolutely explosive speed, not seen before. 8-7 ran away with it. I'm just telling you right now, if my eyes aren't lying to me, and I got to see more of it, and I want to talk to Michael about it, and he's added that maybe the injury last year hurt him a little bit, but he looked like what you expect Brock Bowers to be. Brock Bowers is a tight end who play, but he has the speed of a wide receiver. That was Mayer. I mean, it was a thing of beauty now. Thing of beauty. I mean, I'm just like, what are you kidding me? I want to talk now about Christian Wilkins. First of all, he's a very gregarious man, very outgoing and very happy. He's a leader. His effort is unquestioned. He's Max Crosby at a different position. But I saw something for him today that I thought was really cool. I'm not going to name the player. I'm not embarrassing anyone, and nor did he. But there was a guy that struggled a little bit at a drill, and Christian just walked over and taught. And you could just see in that player's eyes incredible appreciation that Christian took the time. And you could see incredible appreciation from Christian that he listened. I'm not preaching at you, but there's a Bible verse that says a prophet is without honor in his hometown, meaning the people that know you look at you. And I think in Miami, I'm sorry, trying to say it differently like y'all do. In Miami, where he's from, he was drafted there, and I think maybe they didn't necessarily appreciate him as a leader, and he's come here to Vegas and been nothing but. But for him to be in his first training camp first day, and he's walking over and he's not playing the superstar, I'm an egomaniac, neither is Max. But he put his arm around him and just loved him. And to see how much the young man appreciated it, and then to see how much he appreciated the appreciation was really cool. It was really, really cool. And I'm going to tell you, I don't think the Raiders paid enough for Christian. I know Tom Telesco was going to totally yell at me for saying that. But yes, you get the best defensive tackle in the business, but you get one with a Max Crosby mentality of, I got to teach. I just got to teach. It's who I am. Phenomenal. It was phenomenal. And we're very good. Tyree Wilson, 100%. The effort, the smile, the work, the want to. I felt bad. Now, you guys know this because I reported it as soon as they selected Tyree. Their intention for Tyree was to hardly play last year to get healthy. But with what happened, obviously with players who went into meltdown, he had to play a lot. And he wasn't even healthy at the end of the year, but he was healthier and playing well. He's healthy now. And watching him play, I felt so bad for him last year because there were times when you could just see it in his eyes. He knew he could do it, but he physically wasn't able yet. I'm going to put it this way. So I've lost a lot of weight. Some of you know that, some of you don't, but nearly 200 pounds. No surgeries, although I'm not against surgeries. I just made the decision, lost the weight, and still got more to go. But one of the things that people who have once been fat, and I'm certainly not skinny, but are smaller, is you still always perceive yourself as fat. Now, I know people who have been stutterers who got over stuttering, but still were afraid to speak publicly because they remembered when they stuttered. I was really watching closely because I wanted to see, is Tyree going to almost be regretful? And here's why. Last year, there were times when he just could not do things that he did in college, and you knew he had the ability. And it was almost in his eyes. I felt bad for him. I don't think it was depression. I don't think it was that at all, but certainly disappointment because he's a winner. He's a competitor. Great kid. God, I love Tyree Wilson. Great kid. But you could just tell, I just can't do it. And so I wondered, is that going to stick with him? Nope. He was out there today flying around the football. Speaking of flying around the football, let's talk about Malcolm Koonce. That kid came on the last half of last year when Patrick Graham was turned loose. And man, did he play like a rock star. I was wondering, is he going to come back into camp with that same confidence, that same juju? He had it. Oh, he had it. He was moving today. His hips. He's always been a good bender, but as he struggled in the NFL, when you struggle, there's an old saying in football that when you struggle, you begin to almost overdo things. And so he's a great bender. but there were times that his hips didn't look as loose to me, and it was you could just tell he was trying too hard. Then Josh McDaniels get fired. AP unleashes the savant coach known as Patrick Graham, the greatest defensive coordinator in the NFL, in my opinion. That guy's a rock star. And under the leadership of Patrick Graham, he just took off. So I wanted to watch him today. I wanted to check out them hips. Oh, yeah. Everything's got to happen with pads. It only matters what happens in games. But it's there. That what we saw, that in the words of Emeril Lagasse, the chef, another notch. that next notch, you saw it because he took that notch last year and there was no digression. None. None. That's very encouraging. Very, very encouraging. So that's day one. And I hope that's a great update for you. Um, I got a couple of other observations, but to be very frank and fair, I want to watch a little bit more. I'll talk about those tomorrow. One of them I was waiting on a text for and I haven't gotten it, but I'll address those tomorrow. But overall, I thought it was a really good first day of camp. They ended 7 minutes early. You may say, well, why is that a big deal? Because AP loves to reward hard work. So I'm going to end with this. And I think it may be the biggest, but I wanted to save it to the end. The pace of today was astonishing. Now, let me go back and tell you this. In my career, many decades of covering football, the fastest practices I've ever seen were Mike Leach at Texas Tech, Mike Leach at Washington State. Got to watch both teams practice. Unbelievable pace. Just is that air raid, fast, 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 fast. And the whole team practiced that way. The Ohio State Buckeyes under Urban Meyer practiced that way. I don't believe today's practice was any slower than any of those I just mentioned. The pace was phenomenal. Guys sprinting from one rep to the next. And I think that, well, I know AP saw it, and I think that's why they got out of practice a little bit early. You give me maximum effort, I'm not out here to kill you. And we're not going to go in and have 7 hours of freaking meetings. And the pace was there. I was stunned by the pace and stunned by the level of excitement. It was a good deal that the fans were there. They were locked, cocked, ready to rock. The players were, you can just tell they came into this camp with something I have not seen in my previous 4 training camps. There's mojo, and it's not arrogance. See, there's nothing wrong with confidence. You don't want arrogance. It's a, hey, we told Mark Davis, hire this guy. It's on us. And we're okay with that. I'm using their voice. Obviously, I'm not a player, but we're okay with that. We're good. We know we're good. We're going to be all right. Stunned me. I was genuinely shocked to see it. I have not seen an AP practice at that pace yet. And that is a credit to AP and a credit to his entire staff, credit to his players, and they responded and got out of practice early. It was a great day. Overall, I give today an A. And you know what? No pads. So, there's only so much you can do, but you can watch a lot. And there was a lot. So I just want to thank you all for watching. Listen, I know you can go anywhere else. I'm not entitled to you watching me. It's not a right. I got to work for it every single day. Success isn't cheap, and it doesn't come by work and being lazy. And I just want to say thank you. So from me to you, I appreciate you. Now, real quick, I'm out of town, obviously. I'm down in Costa Mesa, so I'm not with my family. But my son Dexter turns 2 in a couple days, and he's missing dad. He's a daddy's boy. So I told my wife I'd say something on video. Dexter Ernest Wayne Carpenter, your daddy loves you. And I am grateful for a great job that gets to provide for you. And so I'm gone, but you're in my heart. I love you, champ. Daddy loves you with his whole heart. Give mommy hugs and kisses for dad and hug all the family. Tell everybody daddy loves them. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.